Hey guys, what's up? Haikurino here. Today we're going to talk about a very important but also very difficult topic, the mental strengths. I was thinking about it a lot, how to discuss this topic, and I want to start with a quote from Darren Boyle, the man who hiked the Appalachian Trail more times than anybody else. He said, when it comes down to the difference between those who finish and those who don't, it all comes down to what's in their heart and what's in their mind. And this is so true because on a long distance hike you will have some bad situations sooner or later, and then it all comes down to your mental strengths if you continue your hike or if you quit. As you can imagine, when everything works just perfect, your hike will be a no-brainer. It will be fun, and I think this is the aspect that we have to focus on. What makes a fun hike for me are my friends that surround me, and it makes a huge difference. In Spain I was walking alone for just a couple of days, but I already noticed that I'm not the kind of person who can walk alone. It is just, I don't know, it's completely miserable for me. I want to share my stories with somebody, I want to talk to somebody, I want to laugh with somebody, and that's why it's so important for me to always have good people around me to help keep the spirits up. The perfect example for this is when we walked through Maine last year on the Appalachian Trail. It was a really hard day, the terrain was steep, it was raining all day long, but we had so much fun. I mean, the trail was flooded, but we stepped into the puddles so everybody else got wet, and we were just laughing so hard. It was hilarious. And if I would have been alone, this would have been a pretty miserable day, I guess. So that's for me the most important thing. What else to mention? Always stay optimistic, always look on the bright side of life. Let's say you go through a week of rain, at least you can say the springs aren't dry and you have plenty of water to drink. Or if you go through some dry days, it's really hot, then you can say, well, at least I don't have to put on my wet socks and shoes. So that's a good thing. Always focus on the positive side and don't waste your time and energy with the negative thoughts. For me, I learned my lesson. I think everything happens for a reason. It happened so many times for me. For example, when I arrived in America last year, my backpack was lost on the airport. It was still in Germany, they forgot it. But I was thinking, oh well, could have been worse, I'm still alive, so let's see what happens. While I was waiting for the bus, I met another guy who was obviously a hiker. He had a huge backpack. So I started chatting with him, and turned out he wanted also to hike the Appalachian Trail. And I figured he is a really awesome guy. He even invited me to his sister's place, so I stayed there. We supplied with food and so on. I met some really nice persons, and that was just a coincidence which turned out to be perfect. And I got my backpack back. We stood on Springer Mountain a couple of days later, and we started our hike together. And it's situations like these that make me believe in this everything happens for a reason thing. I'm not religious or anything, but I figured this out for me. What else? The expectations to a hike. Some people, they think a long distance hike will be recreation, it will be fun, but most of the time it's very hard physically and mentally. So when you expect the worst and after a week you think to yourself, well, it is pretty easy compared to what I thought it would be, then chances are you will succeed. And you also have to learn how to flow with the trail. If you have this competitive attitude towards the trail, you always want to be in control of the weather, be in control of the descents and the descents. Chances are you will drop out, because you have to have a really healthy relationship with the trail, because always keep in mind the trail isn't out there for you. You are out there for the trail and you have to adjust to it. And also maybe you have to rethink about your needs of your comfort. A lot of people, they want to be too comfortable on the trail. They take way too much stuff with them. The backpack will be pretty heavy, and in the end they feel miserable. So yeah, at home we surround ourselves with plenty of stuff, and we kind of lose this feeling of what we really want and what we need. On the trail, the life is pretty easy. We stand up in the morning, we eat, we hike, and at the end of the day we go to bed. Everything is super simple and we really don't need that much stuff. Another thing worth mentioning is our feeling for speed. I mean, when you are walking, you will walk at maybe 2 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour if you are fit. And let's say you want to cover the same distance with a car as we usually do in our normal life. We will cover these distances so quick we really don't think about it. But when we say we want to hike, let's say 40 miles, that could be 2 or 3 days. And that's a whole different way to think about it. What else? How can we increase our chances of getting to the end of the trail and be mentally strong? I think meditation works out pretty well. A friend of mine, he did a lot of meditation before the trail, and he said without it he wouldn't have been able to finish it. For me, I didn't really meditate before the trip, but I think a hike itself is pretty much like a meditation. You kind of get lost in your walking, and everything becomes like a tunnel vision, and in the end it all gets automated. And that's for me a meditation thing. Then always think in small goals. You wanna don't think about reaching your target or your goal that is maybe 1,000 miles away or 100 miles away. Always think in small steps, like I want to reach the next resupply town, which is 50 or 60 miles away, so that will take me 2 or 3 days. And suddenly this becomes reachable, and it's not really that far away. And by reaching one small goal after the other, you will get towards your big goal eventually. And that's very satisfying. For me, it was really important to always keep in mind or remember what the reason was for me to come to the trail. For me it was the feeling of being free and to experience such an amazing adventure. And I even went through some really bad days. I was sick in Maine. The terrain was super hard and I didn't know if I could make it. I was thinking maybe I should quit, this is too hard, but that one night I had a dream. I was back in Germany and I felt miserable because I quit before reaching Mount Katahdin and I just wanted to go back. And this moment I woke up and I was looking around me my friends were still there, and I had this awesome feeling that I didn't quit, and that moment I was sure that I will make it, and I did. So always keep in mind while you are out there, and never quit on a bad day. That's a rule. If you remember that, chances are you will make it to your goal. So the last thing that I want to mention is your knowledge, how to avoid bad situations. For example, on my first days on the trail, I pitched my tarp, and in the night there were some higher gusts, some higher winds. It started raining, and suddenly my tarp collapsed, and I had to go outside in the rain, pitch it again, and this time with a stone on top of the tent stake. And so I have felt miserable, but the reason for it was my lack of knowledge. So if you learn certain things, how to handle specific situations, you will have a lot more comfortable than without all this knowledge. These were my 2 cents on this very difficult topic. And as I said, this is not easy to learn. You really have to go through this process and really adapt to it. And you have to change your way of thinking. And if you do, I hope you will reach your hiking goal. So this was it for today. And I'm already looking forward to the next video. See ya later.